Hi, this is Neill Thew from Crew Leader Development, and in this Crew Short I'm going to talk about the different stages of the Immunity to Change or the ITC coaching journey. Now, if you've watched video 2 in our series of short videos on ITC coaching, you'll recall that we were saying that ITC coaching helps you make progress towards your most important professional or personal goals by helping you to firstly identify and then overturn the assumptions that are currently hindering or even preventing you from making the progress you want to make. So the first thing that we do is we try to get a really clear understanding of what's going on for you right now in relationship to the goal you want to achieve, and we try to shed as much light on that as possible. And we work with you to fill out this map template where we identify your goal, we look at all the things that you're doing and not doing right now instead of your goal, we look at the things that are worrying you, we look at the hidden competing commitments that you hold which go against your goal, and we look at the big assumptions, the things that you must be assuming to be true to make those hidden competing commitments seem so important. And we call this an X-ray map because what we're trying to reveal is the hidden system, the structure of the hidden system that's preventing you from making progress. And we think of it that you've got 1 foot on the gas or 1 foot on the accelerator, which is your desire to move forward on your goal, but also 1 foot on the brake, which are the ways in which your hidden competing commitments act against you achieving your goal. And we look at the ways in which that whole system is currently held in place by the big assumptions that you hold. Now, in order to make progress on this, what we need to do is we need to address those big assumptions, because if we release the grip of the big assumptions, we take the foot off the brake, and then you're able to make progress. The good thing about this system, this 1 foot on the gas, 1 foot on the brake system, is it means that there is at least a lot of energy in your system right now. It's trapped, and we need to be able to use it to mobilize you more effectively. So we think of the work as having 3 stages, and in the opening stages, in the opening part of the ITC game, one of the things that we're likely to do is we're likely to ask you to nominate different people who can give you feedback and tell us all the different things that they see about your progress or behaviours with regard to your goal right now. So if, for example, your goal was, I want to be more assertive, then we'll ask some people to tell us how they've experienced your assertiveness and whether they experience you as assertive, pushover, whatever. The second thing that we'll do is we'll ask you to design a continuum of progress, which is a way of asking you to imagine a way forward. What would it look like if you were achieving your goals? How might you be thinking differently, feeling differently, and acting differently? And also, crucially, what might it look like if you were to find yourself less in the grip of your current big assumptions? The third thing that we'll do in the opening game, without getting into a kind of a therapy place, is that we will look at how you learnt your big assumptions in the first place, or where they came from. So we'll do a biography, not of you, but a biography of your big assumptions, because sometimes understanding how they arose can give us really clear guidance into how we might loosen them. Having done that, we move into the middle game. And the middle game of ITC coaching is all about learning more about your big assumptions and observing them in practice. Now, in this stage, we ask you to do something that's really quite counterintuitive, and in many ways it's quite difficult. We ask you not to try to change your behaviours to make progress towards your goal. We ask you to carry on doing exactly the same things that you've been doing so that we can learn about and really observe your big assumptions in action, because that's going to give us the data we need in order to be able to then test the big assumptions and overturn them. And that's what's going to help you make progress towards your goals. So, to sort of illustrate this metaphorically, as it were, there's 2 different ways in which we ask you to observe your big assumptions. If you have an assumption that going into the water is dangerous, then the chances are, whenever you encounter the necessity to go into the water, something pretty dreadful is going to happen. So the first thing we ask you to observe is when you notice that you've been acting from the position of your big assumptions, when you notice that you've been acting as if your assumptions are true, what happened and what did that cost you? But the second thing we ask you to look for is naturally arising disconfirming evidence. So again, without particularly trying to change your behaviours in any kind of way, can you observe things around you which might cast doubt on your big assumption? You know, this is a very different context of water. These kids are loving the water, they're having fun. The water here is something that's very beautiful. So can you observe things in the world around you which might make you think that, oh, okay, maybe going into the water every time isn't as dangerous as I thought it was? The final stage is the stage where we try to test and then overthrow your big assumption in order to help you make progress on your goal. And what we're looking to do is to design a series of safe-to-fail tests which will generate data to cast doubt on the idea that your big assumption is always true. We're looking to loosen the big assumption, to release the energy in your system so that you can make the progress you want to make. And generally we'll run 2, maybe 3 rounds of tests in the service of really overturning your big assumption. You may find in the final stage that we call hooks and releases that there are just 1 or 2 specific situations in which you still get hooked back into your big assumption. Maybe it's certain people, maybe it's certain contexts. And we help you identify those and pre-plan ways in which you can unhook yourself if you notice yourself getting hooked in. And finally, we'll go back to the people who've given you feedback very early on in the process and ask them to share with us what they see now that you've been through a developmental process and you've settled down into a new configuration, into a new pattern. How are they experiencing you now? And that could be really helpful and valuable external input to help you see the progress that you've made. Now, what I've described is the full ITC coaching arc, but we do also offer shorter arcs. That full arc is 10 to 12 sessions of an hour each, roughly spaced at 2 weeks apart. But sometimes people need a shorter arc, so there are always just 3 absolutely essential ingredients, and then we can decide which other ingredients we want to bring in according to your needs. So the 3 things that always have to happen in an ITC arc is, first of all, designing the map. Secondly, observing the big assumptions in action. And thirdly, designing tests to test the big assumptions and overthrow them. Those 3 elements will always be in, even in the shortest of ITC coaching arcs. So, if you're interested in this and you'd like to talk to us more about ITC and maybe whether ITC coaching would be of use to you, we love to hear from you, so please feel free to contact us at any time, either myself, Neill, at crewleaderdevelopment.com, or my partner Trevor at crewleaderdevelopment.com. And on our website, crewleaderdevelopment.com, you'll find other resources about ITC coaching. And you'll find resources about adaptive leadership, which is the other area in which we work. And we really look forward to hearing from you.